Ukraińska Powstańcza Armia, UPA.
The Ukrainian Revolutionary Army, the UPA, remains above all responsible for the cruel crimes committed on the citizens of the Republic of Poland during the Second World War. The position of the Polish state in this matter has been known for years. In 2016, the Sejm of the Republic of Poland recognized the crimes committed by the UN. On the power of this act, on July 11th, the National Day of Remembrance of the Victims of Genocide committed by Ukrainian nationalists was established. In 2025, this was also confirmed by the power of the Special Act. Facts are not subject. They do not change with political conjuncture or need. Therefore, the name of one of the Ukrainian military units referring to the UPA criminals has a meaning that goes far beyond the internal affairs of Ukraine. Poland has repeatedly signaled to the Ukrainian side its special. We have conveyed our position and expectations of re-evaluating the consequences of this decision and for relations between our countries. Ultimately, the position of the Ukrainian side has not changed. History should not be an obstacle. However, a good future can only be built on the truth. Poland has repeatedly shown that it can shape the future beyond the weight of the past, but never at the cost of memory. Over the past few years, we have consistently built relations with Ukraine based on partnership. After being embraced by me by the President's office, together with the President of Ukraine, we have made an effort to rebuild trust in the areas that remain a source of tension. The statements of the Church of St. Nicholas in Kyiv, the consent to the search and exhumation of Polish victims in Ostroki, Wola Ostrowiecka, Huta Pieniaka, Hołoskos, Boiska, Ugła or Puźniki, were a signal that despite the difficult history, an agreement is possible. All these actions laid the foundations for believing that Poland and Ukraine. Therefore, the decision of the Ukrainian authorities to glorify the UPA is not only outraging, it is also incomprehensible and deeply disappointing. It hits not only the historical memory, it also hits the trust built over the years and the last few months. It hits the foundation of reconciliation. It hits the conviction that we did what we could to save our neighbors. Poland at this terrible moment provided unprecedented humanitarian, political, economic and military assistance. We convinced other countries to help us. Today, over 1.5 million Ukrainians live in Poland. The scale of financial assistance that we have provided to the fighting Ukraine is billions of zlotys. As a supporter of the armed forces, I must also remind you that the Polish army has trained thousands. Today we cannot ignore the fact that some of them will now serve under the UPA standard. This is unacceptable for us. I do not mention these numbers and data to ask for gratitude, but I remind you to understand why the decision of the President of Ukraine arouses. Therefore, in accordance with the agreement of President Volodymyr Zelensky to name one of the units of the armed forces of Ukraine the heroes of the UPA, after consultation with the capital, I made a decision to withdraw the Order of the White Eagle to the President of Ukraine. At this point, I would like to emphasize that this decision is not against the Ukrainian people. It does not mean a change in the strategic direction. We supported and support Ukraine because we know that Russian aggression poses a threat to the security of Poland and the whole of Europe. In this assessment, nothing has changed. Poland remains ready to. Poland remains a supporter of dialogue, but Poland will consistently preserve the memory of its citizens and the dignity of its own national symbols. Poland will defend its national interests.
Polska nie zgodzi się
Poland will not agree to glorify those who murdered Polish defenseless civilians. The road of Ukraine to European structures also requires readiness to fairly face the difficult cards of its own history. United Europe was built on the rejection of totalitarianism. These rules must apply to everyone. For those who do not understand this, there can be no place in the European Union, and Poland certainly will. Ukraine should also remember that nothing serves the interests of the Kremlin more than the conflict between Poles and Ukrainians. There are borders that cannot be crossed in Polish-Ukrainian relations. It is also an appeal to return to the path of truth and mutual respect. Ladies and gentlemen, this is also a lesson for ourselves. We cannot remain indifferent to the affirmation of the symbol of
lekcja dla nas samych. Nie możemy pozostawać obojętni wobec afirmacji symboli zbrodni.